Hey guys, in today's video we're going to show you the best practices in scheduling an inbound order. You're going to start out by going to the CRM accounts page. Now this is one of the ways that you could schedule an order. You have the ability here to go look up an account, select the account, and hit schedule inbound. That's one way to do it, and the other way is you could go to the inbound orders page, which will allow you to hit create and schedule an inbound order from this process. Now for this illustration we're going to start out in the accounts area. We're going to search an account and we're going to hit schedule inbound. Now this is your scheduling modal box. You have a few options. You can see who the customer is you selected, who the sales rep that will be getting the tracking on whose account or whose order this is. Over here you have your sales order terms, and then the warehouse which the material should be sent to. So over here under logistics types you have air trucking, common carrier, or client drop-off. For air trucking, this is assuming that you will be using your own trucks. Common carrier, you're going to be using a third-party 3PL and have them potentially deliver it to your location. And client drop-off is they show up at your location and just drop the material off. In this example, we're going to do an air trucking option. So we'll take a look at the billing. Under billing, you have a few options: pending settlement, advanced sales order, or advanced purchase order. Depending on the type of order this is, would determine the selection. Typically for most ITAD orders, you're going to receive the material in, evaluate it, and do a sort and settle. So in that case, you would do a billing pending settlement. Order comments, you could indicate, specific order comments that would be visible on the paperwork that the system generates. Terms template would just add additional verbiage at the bottom of the quote. Over here you have your service type. So this is a good way to classify your orders. Potentially, if this is an ITAD order, classify it as ITAD. If the order had any specific currency that you're receiving it in on as, you may need to change it. So if you're buying it on the euro or USD, you could select that if you need to have a currency selection. Over here, the SLA time, typically, we would send an SLA, and most common is from the receipt of the material. So when this hits your docks, there will be a ticker that starts. Or you could do the order date, but most common is receipt date of the material. Under pickup date, you could see here we have a specific pickup date. You could say, okay, we're going to pick up on Wednesday, 5/26. On-site time here, this is how long we're going to be on site, and the time window that you would tell the customer that you're going to be arriving at their location. Below, if you have any additional needs for reporting, you could do your estimated delivery date. So if you're going to pick up on Wednesday and deliver on Wednesday, you would select it. Actual pickup time, actual arrival date, and delivery points, or different data points that would show up in the client portal. And for delivery point, that would show up on the work order. Over here you would have the ability to select a preferred truck if needed, and you could choose your truck type and select the type of truck that's going to be used for this order. On-site contact, you have the ability to select an on-site contact. If you have to add a contact on the fly, you could hit the add sign, hit OK. If there's an alternate contact, you could select that contact here. Under addresses, potentially, the company has many locations. If that's the case, you'd have the ability to select a specific location. The ship to is going to be you guys, which would be the ITAD or the recycler receiving the material for this warehouse. And then below we have item counts. So if you knew you're going to pick up 8 pallets and expecting 8,000 pounds of material, you could indicate that, and that'll show up on the dashboards. Now next step, we're going to move over to the reference field. Typically you'd want to save this as a quote in order to move forward, and if there is a contract that's available here, you'd be able to select that contract and apply it. And the contract's going to be a set of rules, and we have a video that outlines how to set up a contract and how that works. So in this case, we'll select this TCG demo contract, hit yes, and that's going to apply the contract to the order. Over here you have your different reference information from bill of lading numbers, purchase orders numbers, reference information. All these fields will show up in the client portal and display on the various paperwork that the system generates. Order details. Depending on the order and the location, you might have some preset defaults like loading dock, where's the equipment located, specific building logistics information. So you have the ability to add and fill this information in as you're scheduling this order. Over here we have equipment and supplies required, pallet jack, J-bar, how many pallets are going to be required. So you'll be able to indicate the notes, and that's going to show up on your work order. Over here we have a calendar view. On the calendar view, this is going to display what orders that you may have throughout the week, the month, the day. Now we're going to move over to the pricing tab. Pricing tab would just overlay all the pricing information that was set from the contract. Otherwise, you could modify the pricing here or adjust specific requirements on auditing fees, what requirements are from a serialization standpoint, and potentially data erasure fees and the type of standard that's required for this order. But typically, that's going to be either set at the contract level, or you could do it a la carte in this section, or you have the ability to add a price sheet, and that'll just overlay in your pricing and different services that you're charging for this order. Now, we're going to look over on the files section. Here you have the ability to add files, and you'd be able to select a file, and potentially if you need to share that for the order that's being generated on the portal, you could click Share on Client Portal, and that'll add any custom paperwork that's needed. Under Images, if there's any images needed, you'd hit Add Files, select the image, and typically this is going to be images provided by the client if this is a data center or some sort of company of that nature. Under Contract, this is going to be the contract that was applied. If you ever have to remove the contract, you could select it and hit Remove and reapply a new contract. Under Portal Reports, we're going to have various portal reports here that are defaulted in. So your client for this specific order would be able to download settlement report, summary reports, picture reports. If there's something that you don't want them to download, you'd be able to select that here and uncheck it. Now we're going to move over to the work instructions. Now the work instructions are the different instructions that you want to provide to your employees during the receiving process. So the work instructions are essentially notes and things that are going to help guide the employees during the receiving process on how to handle the material. And that's going to appear on the labels from the inbound receipt side. Now I'll give you an example what the labels look like. Over here you can see an example 4x6 receiving label. It'll tell you all the information about that order as you're receiving, the type of commodity, the ID number, scannable barcode, and then the work instructions that the sales rep may have indicated. So this would help your workers when they're walking by a pallet or about to process a pallet. They'll be able to see what the exact work instructions were and, eliminate a lot of the mistakes that potentially happen. Now, under the certificate tab, this is where you're going to issue a certificate of recycling. So you would have the ability to indicate which certificate you want to issue, and you could add certificates as needed and save them as templates. Over here, this is going to just provide various verbiage that was saved from the admin side who inputted in that type of certificate. We'll be able to indicate what level of detail they're going to get. Are they going to receive a summary report, an asset report, commodity report? And if you're doing data destruction, definitely include the data destruction report, which would output information about the hard drives that were erased, the type of erasure, who erased it, and it's a very standard R2 compliant report. Now for a signature, typically you would indicate a signature. In this case, I hit Bill's signature and hit Add. That's going to add the certificate of recycling and make it available in the client portal. Now we're going to go over to asset purchase, and this is a very particular need here. This is for people that are buying widgets from a client and really need to generate a purchase order. And if that's the case, this would give you the full capabilities of adding in a purchase order, setting up a warranty, and putting in specific widgets they're buying. So if your client said, hey, I have 50 new monitors, Dell 1908 FPTs, and you're going to buy them at $25, and he required a purchase order, you'd be able to save that. And now this order is going to link to purchase order 2832. And what we're going to do, we'll generate the report here and show you what that looks like. So over here, you could see we have a purchase order that is now generated. Typically would have your logo vendor, ship from, ship tos, and the total quantity of items that are being purchased. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to pay exactly $1,250. It just gives the customer the purchase order 2832 and lets them know pretty much guidelines on what you're going to pay for those assets. Now, when they come in, and if you evaluate them and 5 of them are used, you'll be able to adjust it in the settlement. But at the end of the day, it's all going to attach to purchase order 2832. Now, if you're ready to go and you're complete, you could convert that to order, or if you have a dispatching process, you could send that to dispatch and they'll have the ability to validate the dates and times and convert that to an order. In this case, we're going to hit convert to order, and that's going to generate your order 5206 and send out the appropriate emails to, internal people such as management, and potentially your clients would also receive an email if they were on that notification chain. So that's how you create an inbound order, and it's typically the best practices which I showed you.